Good time zone, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. And yes, today I will be talking about Hogs of War. Honestly, that finale video, I took it down because I honestly should have done a podcast review, but I was just too bitter and annoyed that I made it all the way to the finale level, and well, I got soft locked because of just how insanely difficult the game got on the last level. But again, I still stick back to my guns that the game is completed. I won't be going back just to finish that level. And also understand that please respect the opinions of of myself that yes, this is a fun game, but I just did not enjoy it in the end, or at least the single player portion. I had a blast with the multiplayer, when I was a lot younger, but man, that single player did not, wow, that did not age well. Like, holy crap. But anyways, like what we do here, what we do here on the podcast, before we talk about the game, is play the trailer. In this case, the preview trailer. So without further ado, let me play it, and I will be right back.
The recruits are here for one reason only, and that reason is war. Our job is to fight, destroy, guns, bombs, and knives, and with your bare hands.
War is a filthy business.
Welcome to my world of pain. Good shooting. Oh, this wasn't part of the script.
I think your war is over.
And that is the preview trailer for Hogs of War. This game was made in 2000 from the developers over at Infogrames. Infogrames Sheffield House. Let's see, and it used to be called Gremlin Graphics Software, later Gremlin Interactive Limited, before it became Infogrames Studios Limited. But yes, this game was released on PlayStation in 2000 and on Windows and also in 2000. So this is a turn-based tactics game, artillery game. If you have never played an artillery game before, then look to Worms. That's the comparison that many people drew when this game was first released. But basically, you have two vehicles, and or vehicles, NPCs, whatever. And your objective is to basically take out the other player. If the other player goes down before you do, and there are no more enemy players left on the board from that team, then you win. You move on to the next level, or you just win the game. This is based off of this has World War loosely based on World War One, and apparently a remaster is in production. And apparently considered a cult classic. And yes, Hogs of War. You control hog nations. You can name your hog units. You can name your hog team. Each hog team starts out as grunts, and over the course of the game, depending upon if you basically 100% each level, you can go from a grunt all the way to hero, which is basically the highest rank you can give your hog. But in order to achieve that level, you have to make sure that you survive the map. All your units survive the map, and you complete optional objectives. And the optional objectives range from either taking out enemy units, finding medals, or just finding them on the map. Because sometimes medals will drop for whatever reason, but without no explanation. This is the only way you can upgrade your units, by the way. There's no other way to do it. So if you're looking for an XCOM style game, you'll have it here, but you're not going to necessarily have that same way of upgrading units and whatnot. And And yeah. I remember picking up this game many years back from Blockbuster, and I just absolutely enjoyed the multiplayer. I thought the game was silly, and I always remember playing it with my late father. Um, the multiplayer maps were just so hilariously fun to play, and just this is the idea of hogs going to war with each other is absolutely comedical. Um, but has my opinion of the game changed over the years? Well, I never played it until now. And I have to say, wow, we've come a long way in the genre of turn-based tactics and artillery games. I never played Worms, so I can't really compare that game all that much, except for how they used motors and artillery. Now that I recall, I remember playing one Worms game back on the PlayStation 3. It was like a free game or whatever. But so this game did not age well for me. It didn't age well because of just a lot of things. A lot of things that they were trying to do here were great in concept, but the way they executed it is in a weird way where I'm like, I don't think you can really compare it to Worms or an artillery game at times, because this was like, wait, what? So let's just get right. Let's just go right for the issues, right? First and foremost is that this game is a randomly procedure generated game, meaning that each time you start a new game, not every nation is going to be the same. Not every map is going to be the same. Each map will have its own unique various set of challenges, ranging from terrain, mountain terrain, canyon terrain, water, minefield, whatever. And yes, take over the world. And I like the idea of it because it keeps you on your toes, and each playthrough is great and all. But when you have to also account for the map, how the AI reacts to the map, your weapon arsenal, and just sheer dumb luck, because there are times where you will get absolutely lucky with some of your shots, especially with guns that don't really have like a line of sight, and you have to basically play it like an artillery game or like Worms, where you have to figure out, okay, how far is the character, where's the character at, and so on and so forth. And there will be times where you completely mess up. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's fine, we mess up. But here's the thing, though. The game does not have... Not only does the game constantly insult you every time when like you start dying off because, oh, hey, this shot misfired, or whatever, but there's no reset the mission. By the way, there's no resetting the mission. There's no undoing all your upgrades for your units. There's no gaining sympathy points for when that hog dies. You can't take his upgrade points for another hog. You are basically screwed if you level up poorly, and there's no way of getting it back, which is why the game kind of really tells you to save it often in the team menu. And yes, this is a PlayStation 1 era game, but at the same time, I was kind of hoping that they would be... If they do a remaster, I really hope they make... Not only do they make the gameplay better, but they make the gameplay more, dare I say, streamlined, or more XCOM-y. Because, again, there were times where it kind of really felt like it could have benefited from like just XCOM. Or if you look at XCOM Enemy Unknown, for example, you take your turn in one go. Here, you don't really take your turn in one go. It's always by unit. So you have a sniper, turn, done. Enemy sniper, turn, done. Enemy, your gunner, done. Enemy gunner, done. And there are moments where you look at some of these maps and you're like, that the game could have benefited from just a team do your turn first and enemy team do your turn, because there are some of these crazy things that the AI does is the same, ranging from not doing anything at all, pulling out like just incredible lucky shots, which is totally fine. I admire that. But the way they do it too, it's like they run, stop, look around, run, stop, look around, wasting their turn. And then, oh, but wait, your hog is right next. The enemy, your hog is right next to them, but they want to go for the farthest hog possible. There were levels where I just look at them going, "What are you doing? There's a hog right there." But apparently, on the last level, instead of just doing whatever, they just use the blimp that has like these overpowered ability. Artillery gun, and yes, there, besides the blimp, there's artillery guns and tanks and stuff. Minefield, and the minefield, apparently you can't set your minefield forever. Apparently it goes off after a few seconds, which is like, wait, what? But there is a big learning curve, is what I'm trying to say. There's a big learning curve here, and the game does not forgive nor forget. The game does not forgive nor forget. So if you're hoping that you can get through some of these levels in a cool like fashion, you're gonna find yourself restarting those levels a lot of times because you missed a shot, or the enemy got stupidly lucky, or your team wiped, but there's no real way of getting these your upgraded points back or whatever. And so you're just constantly trying to figure out what works well. And yes, some might say that is part of the process, but when you're stuck on the same level over and over again for like a day or two straight, or it's just like, okay, we're on this level looks easy, but days go by and you're just like, why can't I pass this level? And it's not getting good, it's frustration. Because the AI either gets incredibly lucky, or for some reason, like, yeah, it could be players' fault too, but this goes back to what I said earlier about terrain, and how they handle and procedurally randomly generated stuff. Because in the game, terrain crossing is a pain in the ass. Like, I just can't believe they actually did that and thought and people thought that was funny, because there are slopes in the game that look traversable, but for whatever reason they don't register the polygons there, and it's instead of a hill, instead of like this walkable slope you can walk on, it's just a mountain slope. Skyrim, the mountain, those kind of mountain slopes where you can't just climb it and jump on it and whatever. No, you get animated stun lock, and oh yeah, your turn's being wasted. Which, if I haven't mentioned it before, I'm gonna mention it right now. The timer is the worst thing they ever put in this game. If it was for the multiplayer, fine. If it was for special levels, fine. But to have a timer and you have that stupid shit happening, I get it, it's for slapstick humor, because this whole game is supposed to be like a comedic kids game for the most part. Because yeah, comedic game until you start throwing tear gas and you're just like, oh shit. But I get what they were trying to go for with the comedy angle and all that, but you cannot be telling me that you did not question the sanity of, like, why did you think of this? Why can't you think of that instead to make it? And yes, this is a PlayStation 1 era game, and that's fine, but there are times where I'm just like, they could have done this differently. They could have done that differently, this differently, that differently, all the things, right? So, let's see. So what are the positives then, Minnow? Well, again, the slapstick humor is one big positive. You can customize your hogs, name and team. And again, just the whole idea of just going to war as a hog is just funny in itself. And that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot of positives to share, really. Like, a lot of it is mainly negative stuff because of just how they handled everything. And I cannot even, like, recall one level where I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense, because every level just doesn't make any sense. Like, Hamburger Hill has you surrounding the last whatever faction you're fighting against, and you might be thinking they're calling reinforcements from behind, but they don't. And you're like, wait, these are all the units here? Oh, okay, we can take them out, I guess. And you would think that, oh, let's summon the hero unit. No. Legend's the highest one. Okay, I'm mistaken. Legend was the highest one. They didn't even summon the legend. I expected those legend units to drop in the final level, in the respective factions' final level, and then in the final level in the Isle of Pig or whatever it's called. I expect going up against the purple team and the legendary hero, but no, they don't do that here. Which is very odd to say the least. And it's just like, why didn't you do that instead of that? It's a lot of head scratching. And I know some people are gonna say, if this game's making you think, you shouldn't have played this game to begin with. But yeah, this game does make you think. So I don't know where the head scratching rebuke is coming from. Like, why are you telling me that I shouldn't be thinking? It's just a slapstick comedy game. No, this game really does make you think, because you have to figure out again how to upgrade your units. What kind of maps will you be facing? What are the optional objectives? What are the are they going to be enemy reinforcements? And let me just say too, on that matter too, that the enemy reinforcement count is so weird, because there's just sometimes that the map calls for enemy reinforcements but doesn't really come, and you're just like, is that it? Oh, okay, that's a little dumb. I could have basically done the optional objectives here, because those are some levels where you're just like on your guard because you don't know when they're, and that's fine, but then you just wasted an entire level because you're just like, man, if there's only reinforcements, then let me go after the optional objectives then, at least. Because again, these medals will help you level up your hogs. And if you don't level up your hogs, by the time you get to the last level, you're going to get your ass whooped. And there's no way of resetting your hogs unless you start the whole run all over again. Which is, again, horseshit, in my opinion. So, do I recommend this game? If you're a fan of Worms and artillery-style turn-based tactic games, basically you're a fan of Worms or any artillery-like games, artillery-like games, whatever it's called, then yes, I would recommend it. But if you're a casual gamer, and yes, there's a boot camp, but the boot camp doesn't do a whole lot either. Just so you know. Because the bootcamp is also randomly generated too. Wait, what? But if you're a casual gamer looking for another retro game to play, I don't recommend it, because the learning curve is too steep. You're gonna have to really like look up a guide or look up how other players have done it, and just pray that you can get all this done in like them, and then get to the final level. Again, I enjoyed it for what it's worth. I enjoyed it for what it's worth, but there were times where I was just like, thank God I was done with this level. Just because of just the amount of the amount of bullshit from what the level entailed. But anyways, that is the end of this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, then leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're a listener to Spotify, then share this episode with your friends, family, neighbors, all that cool stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next episode of the podcast. Bye-bye.